Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear EUA members and representatives from the European institutions, from national ministries, regional representations, and many stakeholder organizations working in research and higher education. You're very welcome. A very special welcome to our keynote speakers, Madame Pauline Rouche, who is head of cabinet of Maria Gabriel at the European Commission, and to Ms. Aline Humbert, who is a councillor for higher education at the French Permanent Representation to the EU. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you just 1 week after the launch of the European Strategy for Universities by the Commission. And it's also 1 year, almost to the day, since EUA launched Universities Without Walls, which is the sector's own vision for 2030 and beyond. To begin with, I celebrate the positive vision for open, engaged, autonomous universities, grounded, of course, in academic values, and ready to tackle societal challenges in the years ahead. All of this is common to both documents. And I think taken together, they do advance the concept of a European university system, which inspired the Bologna Agreement almost or more than 2 decades ago. Now, of course, last year we were already discussing the post-pandemic era, and we're here once again online, unfortunately, but I'm glad that this hasn't curbed your enthusiasm and that so many of you have joined us. As Amanda said, almost 1,800 registered for this event, all here to explore the future of Europe's universities and how universities and power holders and stakeholders at European level, national and regional levels, how we can all work together to create the conditions that we need as universities if we're to thrive and to make our contribution to society. Universities are both subject to and actors of change. And of course, this has never been clearer than during the pandemic, when our institutions transformed overnight at a pace that nobody could have imagined. And there is enormous innovation in every institution, particularly in learning and teaching, with digital and blended formats, synchronous and asynchronous, and that transition was truly remarkable. Of course, it did also show us the limits of online learning and gave us a better understanding of how we must mix and match different tools for different types of learning and different types of learners. And there was huge innovation in research, spawning COVID vaccines in collaboration with industry, generating the data and the evidence that underpinned public health and economic policies. But innovation within universities doesn't happen in isolation. And as we saw in the pandemic, we need collaborative support from many stakeholders. And in the coming years, through all our missions, education, research, innovation, and culture, we hold the keys to tackling the big challenges, but we cannot do this alone. For many decades, collaboration among universities with business and civic society, within individual countries and regions, across borders in Europe and internationally, it's been a signature feature of Europe's universities. And the EU has been particularly supportive, both through policies and programs, such as Horizon Europe, Erasmus+, and more recently, the Recovery and Resilience Fund. But as Amanda indicated, our collaboration in research and education goes far beyond Europe's borders, as it must, if we are to harness the collective strengths of our sector across the globe, because the challenges are global. And so it is interesting that here today we have participants from 78 countries, which is a testament to our identity as a globalized research and education community. This global reach, our partnerships with peers across the world, these are crucial for international understanding and for dialogue. And it is a fact that academic conversations thrive best and are most productive when they're detached from geopolitical power struggles. Science diplomacy will be a significant theme for 2022 in Brussels, but for it to work, it must be equal measures science and diplomacy, not science as a diplomatic tool, as a carrot or a stick, because fundamentally we believe that there must be no borders to inquiry and to learning, and borders shouldn't really feature in any of our thinking. So a special welcome to those who have joined us from outside of Europe. But back here, where we still combat unnecessary barriers to collaboration, mainly due to diverging national and regional regulations, varying degrees of university autonomy, and uneven levels of public investment across the continent. It is true that for 20 years, Bologna process has made collaboration and mobility easier, at least in the education domain, but the tools and instruments have not been implemented equally in all countries. And in the research domain, there's been a similar experience in implementing the European research area. So today, the ball lies in the court of member states. The Commission's strategy and the Commission's recommendations to EU Council to overcome these barriers, it provides welcome momentum, new momentum. But national and regional reforms of the university systems and to support university systems, they remain a sine qua non for any progress. We have a stated ambition as Europe to sit at the global top table in education, research, and innovation in the decades ahead. And we have mentioned US, China, and others being at that table. I think we must remember that as the strategy embarks now on its next phase, consideration by the member states, we appeal to our political leaders to reflect on why the others sit at the table. And it's because bold initiatives in those parts are not met by reactions such as are common here. We don't do this. We haven't done this. We can't do this. It's too difficult or it's too complex. The focus of others, once an objective is set, is to ask, what must we do to make it happen? What obstacles can we remove? And it's this can-do attitude that has to be seen at EU Council tables in the coming months if Europe is to be at the table, to be at the forefront of innovation in the coming decades. Europe will only be as strong as its universities will be. In a few moments, Pauline Rouge will describe the new tools for collaboration which have been set out, which of course must yet prove fitness for purpose, and they must be refined with stakeholders and with member states. But we must say here that the EUA values highly the good exchanges we've had with the Commission in its preparation of strategy, and we look forward to partnering with the Commission to advance implementation. So to conclude, I welcome everybody to our symposium. The title, as Amanda has said, includes an important question, Quo vadis? Where goest thou in poetic English? It calls for direction, for a common goal, and for joining forces. And we anticipate that our speakers in the panels ahead and you in your chat box and in your questions and comments will help answer the question.